Hi, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. Welcome back to the Seaside podcast. Been away for quite a while now, and when I first started the podcast, I wanted to make sure that I had something to say, something which was meaningful to me and hopefully would be meaningful to other people. So yeah, that's what I'm going to continue to do. And that's what I feel like is the right time to do. Over winter, very much I've closed down and continued upon my journey, my realizations, which I will go through with you now. So we found ourselves mid-January. Christmas has been gone, New Year's been gone, Halloween has been gone. I just, first of all, felt some resistance towards actually sitting and talking to some people and talking to myself and talking to you. And I really needed to do some integrating of my feelings and some moving on. So I will just say, first of all, for those of you that are watching me, yes, this is a Stranger Things t-shirt. What makes me want to reference that is, does anyone watch The Thing? The Thing is a John Carpenter film. It's absolutely fantastic. We watched it again over New Year and really, really picked out how influential it is over Stranger Things. Everyone always references Steven Spielberg, but it was just like, my gosh, I haven't watched this film for years, and it's great. And it's so Stranger Things. So it's obviously a lot of influence there. If you haven't watched it, go and search it out. It's absolutely wonderful to see Kurt Russell looking so buff when he was younger. Not that he's not now, but he just looks wonderful in it. And he's, I can totally understand how he went from that to, what is it, Escape from New York? Yeah, Escape from New York. So I think that was made afterwards. Anyway, enough of being a Kurt Russell aficionado, geek, nerd, whatever you want. Sort of easing myself into this journey. So what have I been doing? I've been running with my sister, Selenite Wellbeing, who is on an earlier podcast, Maya. We started our own online breathing space back in August. I think that sort of took some of the energy from me, sort of took, resources that I was putting into this, I was then putting into the online breathing space. That was on a Monday morning, UK time, at 9:30. If you go to makesomebreathingspace.com, you can register there and sign up. It's a free offering, so you don't need to part with any card details or any mullah. And we just try and hold a really open space just for people to be tender and compassionate with themselves. And also, doesn't matter if you're not ideally lying down, if you're sat at your desk, it might just be nice on a break, if you can schedule your own breaks, to have some beautiful music on and to have some guidance to remind you to check in with yourself. Or if you're at home and you've got young kids around, lead by example, and they can see that you're making time for yourself, can see that it's okay for them to join you, to look at the screen, to breathe. You might not want your cameras on, it's all online, we do it over Zoom. you might not want that. You might have the camera off. It's okay for them to see you interacting, and for the tenderness of it. So myself facilitates, Maya facilitates, and also we have some guests facilitating as well. So that's taken energetically quite a bit from me. And I think this week I was brought crashing to humanness, I will say, by the fact that I had an appointment for an MRI at the Heath. So I do suffer with chronic illness. Do I suffer with it? That is a real habit to say that. I don't think I suffer with it. It's part of my cells and my human experience. Yeah, suffer's the wrong word. So I do have chronic illness with me that affects me every minute of every day. Those of you that follow me on Instagram at @the_inside will hear on some of the things I'm posting. You might be able to hear now that I have some damage from my stroke, 2 strokes, possibly 3, we're not sure. That affects my cerebellum, and it affects the muscles uptake, the muscle coordination. So I've changed shape quite a lot. It affects the diaphragm, affects my respiratory rate. I've got damage to one of my cranial nerves here, which is why I can't smile. Why I'm quite lopsided in terms of smiling. But anyway, I digress. Thought there was something a bit weird about the MRI. Couldn't quite understand why I felt so nervous about it. Felt really anxious and really nervous about it. I didn't understand why. But as soon as I got there, it became really obvious. The radiographer came out to get me. Really nice lady. I've seen her before, actually. I think she gave me my contrast 6 months ago last time when I went. She said to me, okay, we're doing your head and your neck today. And last time I was bowled over, it's just the adrenals that hit adrenaline and cortisol that hits your system. And that in itself takes a lot out of you. And I don't think there's anything else that, there's nothing that you can do to avoid that. I wasn't expecting to have a neck MRI. So as soon as she said it, I was like, okay, I understand. I was very, very anxious going into the tube. So thankful my breathing space family were online together, breathing and holding space for me while I was in the machine. Wow. So grateful to be held, to every single one of them. I think this is really what I want to talk about today, is the fact that you're human. Yeah. When you go into that environment and you get a diagnosis, you get a fresh diagnosis, something's progressed. Yeah. Something is found in another area of the body, you will still be nervous. You will still feel fear. Yeah, the body, the cells will still react. But what I know now is how to deal with it, how to keep myself sometimes tethered, but anchored into my body and into what's being communicated to me. I'm able to see this radiologist, two radiologists who were there, who helped me out with the machine. She lined down for quite a long time, was in there about 50 minutes. You do stiffen up because you can't move at all. It's also a little strange because in your head you have blocks at the side and earplugs, so it's quite difficult. Suddenly you're exposed to this noise, and there's the hospital, everything's really bright, and the radiologists have the quality uniforms, because they're all dressed in black from head to toe. If ever I was going to be anything, it would be a radiologist because of the uniform. They come in and, you're able to see that they're there to support you. They're there to hold space for you. There's like a real exchange of community. And I was absolutely able to see that as all of, all of the medicine that's available to us as a race. No competition, no vaccination, no anti-vaccination, no complementary, no strictly medical. You need proof of this, you've got proof of that. It all counts. That song it says, the Depeche Mode song, everything counts in large amounts. That came to me. Everything counts in large amounts, no matter how small it is. Sometimes the smallest thing can make a huge, huge difference. And I feel that. I feel that with some of the people that are around me. It's the same. The sun and the moon, they still come from the same source. Yeah, different way of seeing the world. There's always a different way of seeing the world. So I just really wanted to use this podcast just to say where I'd been, what had been taking my energy. I have a disease of nervous system, so I've got some tumours in my brainstem. They're not cancerous, they're completely benign, but they're in a position which is called inoperable. So they won't go in there unless it's life-threatening, which I hope it doesn't. I do know some people who have been there and they've had no choice and they've come out of the other side of the operation and they're still alive. And you're a very beautiful person, BG, you know who you are. Everything's there, and sometimes you just need to take the space to be that vulnerable and to catch up. So to say to my family, I can't do this anymore. Like I can't write, but my motor skills for my right hand, particularly my fingers, are getting worse. Have a degenerative side effect called hypertrophic liver degeneration. I think it's another reason why I get scanned so often, is because even like the top neurosurgeons in the UK, there's probably about 8 of us in the UK that have got it. Maybe a few more people undiagnosed as well, but it's like 1 in 30 million people get this side effect. And you can imagine the research that goes into that is nothing. So I think another reason I want to scan my neck is because of my voice, because of my palatal tremors. Like, they don't know anything about it. Wish they'd just talk to me first. That's quite frustrating, but it is also reassuring to know that they're on my side as well, and that actually they're just trying to look after me, the medical doctors, in the best way they know how, you know. And at any point I can say no. You know, that's really important to know that you can say no and to be an advocate for yourself. But it's also very scary, because as much as everyone can see everything on paper, you know, the benign brain disease, the cavernoma, yeah, it's rarely fatal. We know that on paper, but medical doctors don't actually know what's going to happen to me. So it is quite scary, and I really needed to take some time. And I thought I would start this up again as I'm about to go through a new diagnostic process. So I'm going to keep you with me all the way along that process. And please give us a like, please give us a follow. We'll see you next time. There is great love here for you, and you've all got my well wishes.